Okay. Nakikita nyo yung slide, section B?
Yes.
Gumalaw ba?
Opo.
Sige. Okay, so again, good morning. So today we will start our series of lectures in endocrinology. So we will be discussing the individual endocrine glands, the hormones secreted by each gland, the biologic actions of each hormone, as well as disorders that will involve the secretion of these hormones. And for this morning, we have two lecture topics. So in our first session, we will talk about the general or basic principles in endocrinology. In your second session at 10 o'clock this morning with Dr. Magpale, you will be talking about the pituitary gland. Okay? Now, in the body, there are two systems that regulate the different body functions or processes. And these are the endocrine system and the nervous system. Now, in the endocrine system, there is a specialized group of secretory cells or endocrine glands. When they are stimulated, they release a chemical substance which we call a hormone into the circulating blood. In the circulating blood, most of these hormones are transported bound to plasma proteins to a specific site where they act on a target cell, eliciting a physiologic response from the target cell. So sa endocrine system, may tatlong components: endocrine glands, hormones, target cells. Okay? Now, regulation of the different body functions or processes by the endocrine system occurs slowly. That is, the latent period or the interval between hormonal stimulation and target cell response takes longer. For example, the full effects of growth hormone and thyroid hormones on the target cells can be observed only after several weeks or even months. So matagal yung latent period. However, there are some hormones, like for example, the catecholamines, whose effects are immediate. Okay? In addition, there are hormones that can act on several target cells at the same time. We call them general hormones. And since they can act on several target cells at the same time, that will make their effects diffuse or widespread. In contrast, in the case of glucagon, isa lang ang kanyang target organ, and that is the liver. So pag general hormone, maraming target cells or organs. Pero yung example ko nga ng glucagon, iisa lang ang target organ niya, and that is the liver. On the other hand, the nervous system regulates body functions or processes by generating action potentials or nerve impulses transmitted by specific efferent nerves to a specific effector or target cell, also eliciting a physiologic response from the effector or target cell. And this time, regulation of the different body processes by the nervous system occurs faster. So the latent period or the interval between nervous stimulation and target cell response is shorter. On the other hand, since efferent nerves innervate specific target or effector cells, that will now make their effects more localized. And remember that the effects of the nervous system on the target cells are mediated by a neurotransmitter agent. Okay? So again, these are the two systems that regulate different body functions or processes. And so far, I have mentioned the differences on how these two systems regulate different body functions or processes. However, One similarity between them is that their actions are mediated by chemical substances. Hormone para sa endocrine system, neurotransmitter agent para sa nervous system. So in relation to this, let us now mention the different types of chemical mediators or chemical messenger systems. So number one, we have neurotransmitter agents or simply neurotransmitters. Can you give me examples of neurotransmitters? Section B. Anong alam niyong neurotransmitter? Anong naalala niyo?
Acetylcholine po.
Okay, acetylcholine. Another one is norepinephrine. Ngayon, what are the characteristics or properties of a chemical substance for it to be classified as a neurotransmitter? Number one, it has to be synthesized by a neuron. Okay? Number two, after synthesis, it is stored temporarily in vesicles located at the nerve terminal or axon terminal. Number three, its release is stimulated by an action potential facilitated by calcium, and the process is by exocytosis. At saan nare-release ang neurotransmitter? Sa synaptic cleft, where it will then bind with membrane receptors on the effector or target cell. Okay? Next, endocrine hormones. So these are chemical substances synthesized by endocrine glands, released into the circulating blood to act on target cells that are located far from the secretory cell. In other words, malayo yung endocrine gland sa target cell. Kaya ang endocrine hormone nare-release sa circulating blood. And there are several examples. Growth hormone, thyroxine, estrogen, cortisol, parathyroid hormone, etc. Ito yung pinakang topic natin ngayon. Okay? Next. A combination. Neuroendocrine hormones. So these are chemical substances synthesized by neurons, but stored and released by an endocrine gland into the circulating blood. I repeat, synthesized by neurons, stored and released by an endocrine gland into the circulating blood. Examples include the antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. Now, before we go any further, let us clarify some terms. Synthesis, release, secretion. So, alam natin yung synthesis, pag-synthesize, pag-produce ng hormone. Tapos, upon stimulation, marirelease. Pag ang isang gland nagsisynthesize at nagre-release, at tawag natin doon, secretion. Okay? So, pag sinabi secretion, that will involve both synthesis and release of a hormone. Okay, next. Paracrines. These are chemical substances synthesized by a specialized group of secretory cells, could be endocrine glands, but released only into the interstitial fluid, not into the circulating blood. And they act on target cells located near the secretory cell in the same tissue. Kaya hindi sila kailangan mag-circulate sa blood. Kasi secretory at target cell magkatabi lang, nasa isang tissue. Okay? Are you familiar with the pancreatic islets of Langerhans? Section B, alam ba nyo yung pancreatic islets of Langerhans? Okay. In the pancreatic islets, there are several types of secretory cells. Each cell secreting a different hormone. For example, alpha cells secrete glucagon, beta cells secrete insulin. Ngayon, glucagon from the alpha cells can stimulate the beta cells to secrete insulin. So magkatabi lang yung alpha at beta. On the other hand, insulin from the beta cells inhibit the alpha cells from secreting glucagon. So magkatabi yung secretory cell at target cell. So in this case, insulin and glucagon are functioning as paracrine hormones. Okay? But when glucagon acts on the liver, endocrine hormone na siya. When insulin acts on muscle cells, adipose cells, liver cells, endocrine hormone na siya. Okay? Next, we have autocrines. These are chemical substances that act on the same cells that produce them. So, iisa yung secretory at saka target cell. For example, tumor cells secrete a growth factor that will stimulate the same tumor cells, allowing the tumor cells to grow. And finally, we have cytokines. These are protein mediators that will mediate the actions of the cells of the immune system. So again, you have here the different types of chemical mediators or chemical messenger systems. So now we concentrate on the endocrine system. So what are the different body functions or processes regulated by the endocrine system? So number one is chemical homeostasis, under which we have regulation of carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism. Ngayon, anong alam yung hormones that will regulate carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism? Anybody?
Insulin, glucagon.
Okay, you have insulin and glucagon from the pancreatic islet cells. Others include growth hormone from the anterior pituitary gland, thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland, even the catecholamines from the adrenal medulla, cortisol from the adrenal cortex. All of them can help regulate carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism. Also under chemical homeostasis is regulation of water and electrolyte metabolism. O ayan, alam niyo yan. Anong mga hormones ang nagre-regulate ng water and electrolyte metabolism?
Aldosterone.
Aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. Even cortisol also from the adrenal cortex. ADH from the posterior pituitary gland. Parathyroid hormone from the parathyroid glands. Okay? Now, reproduction is completely dependent on the endocrine system. So this will involve the actions of the ovarian hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and the testicular hormone, testosterone. Next is stimulation of human growth. And this will include stimulation of cellular growth, differentiation, maturation, metabolism, and aging. So all aspects of cellular life. And aside from the growth hormone, other hormones that are important in human growth are thyroid hormones, estrogen, and the androgenic hormones. Okay? And finally, there are some behavioral patterns that can be influenced by hormones. Like for example, in patients under prolonged corticosteroid therapy, they may develop a manic depressive type of behavior. In patients with prolonged or chronic untreated hypothyroidism, one complication is called myxedema madness. In times of stress, the secretion of cortisol and the catecholamines increases, and that will enable you to cope with stress. So again, these are the different body functions regulated by the endocrine system. Up to this point, are there any questions or clarifications you want to make? Wala? Okay, so we continue. And we will now discuss the individual components of the endocrine system. We start with endocrine glands or organs. So in the body, endocrine glands or organs are grouped into two. The first group is called purely endocrine glands. Purely endocrine because their primary function or their only function is endocrine. And that is to secrete hormones. Okay? Ngayon, ganito ang gagawin natin. As I mentioned the different types of endocrine glands, I will also mention the hormones secreted by each gland as well as the target cells, target glands, or target organs of each hormone. So para itong overview ng endocrine system. And kindly remember yung initials ng hormones as well as the other names of each hormone. Okay? So first in our list of purely endocrine glands is the anterior pituitary gland or adenohypophysis. Kasi kung buong pituitary lang, hypophysis yon. Pero pag anterior pit, adenohypophysis. Okay? And you have here the hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Number 1 is GH, and that is growth hormone. Other names are somatotropin or somatotropic hormone. So I repeat, growth hormone, somatotropin, or somatotropic hormone. Okay? Now, growth hormone acts on almost all cells in the body that are capable of growing. And this will include bone cells, muscle cells, adipose cells, liver cells. Bone, muscle, adipose, liver. Okay? Next is PRL, that is prolactin. Another name is lactotropic hormone. Target glands are the mammary glands. But take note, the mammary glands are not endocrine glands. Okay? TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone or thyrotropin or thyrotropic hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone or thyrotropin or thyrotropic hormone. Nasa pangalan na niya. Target gland is the thyroid gland. ACTH is adrenocorticotropic hormone or corticotropin. Adrenocorticotropic hormone or corticotropin. Target gland is the adrenal cortex, hindi ang adrenal medulla. Okay? Then we have two types of gonadotropic hormones or gonadotropins. Nakikita niyo ang pangalan niya nanggaling sa term na gonad. Ang ibig sabihin ng gonad, primary organs of reproduction. So gonadotropins, gonadotropic hormones. And these are FSH or follicle stimulating hormone, LH or luteinizing hormone. And the target glands are the ovaries in females, testes in males. Okay? Anong napansin nyo sa pangalan nila? Somatotropic, lactotropic, thyrotropic, corticotropic, gonadotropic. So they are tropic hormones, meaning to say, the hormones secreted by the anterior pit can stimulate growth as well as the function or activities of their respective target cells, target glands, or target organs. Okay? Itong last four, TSH, ang target gland, thyroid. ACTH, adrenal cortex. FSH and LH, ovaries, testes. Lahat ito, endocrine glands din. So that means most of the hormones of the anterior pituitary gland can actually regulate the secretory function of the other endocrine glands in the body. So that when we say master gland, we refer to the anterior pituitary gland. Okay? Okay, next. Posterior pituitary gland or neurohypophysis. Neuro because the origin of the posterior pit is neural. It is actually an outgrowth of the hypothalamus. But remember, the posterior pituitary gland does not synthesize any hormones. Its main functions are to store and to release neuroendocrine hormones. So these are hormones synthesized in the hypothalamus but is stored and released by the posterior pituitary gland. Okay? So first we have ADH or antidiuretic hormone. Another name is vasopressin. Now ADH is synthesized mainly by the supraoptic nucleus of the hypothalamus. And what are the target cells? Number one are the epithelial cells of the DCT and collecting ducts of the nephron. And number two, vascular smooth muscle cells. Okay? Oxytocin, on the other hand, is synthesized mainly by the paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus. And what are the target cells of oxytocin? Number one, you have the myoepithelial cells of the breasts. And number two, the smooth muscle cells present in the uterine wall. Yan yung tinatawag nating myometrium. Okay, next. The thyroid gland is also a purely endocrine gland. And there are two types of secretory cells in the thyroid. First are the follicular cells that secrete the thyroid hormones T3 and T4. Now, T3 and T4 are general hormones, meaning to say they can act on almost all cells in the body. Also present in the thyroid are the parafollicular cells that secrete calcitonin. And the major target organ of calcitonin is the bone. And the net effect of calcitonin is to lower the plasma calcium level. So calcitonin is a hypocalcemic agent. Okay? Partly embedded behind the thyroid are the four parathyroid glands that secrete the parathyroid hormone or PTH. Target organs of PTH are the bone, intestine, and kidneys. And its main effect is to increase the plasma calcium level. So PTH is a hypercalcemic agent. So PTH, hypercalcemia, calcitonin, hypocalcemia. So PTH and calcitonin are physiologic antagonists. Okay? Okay, next. We have the pancreatic islets of Langerhans, where the beta cells secrete insulin, alpha cells secrete glucagon. So what are the target cells of insulin? Bone, muscle, liver. Okay? As for glucagon, sabi ko nga kanina, isa lang ang target cell of organ niya, and that is the liver. Now, just like calcitonin and PTH, insulin and glucagon are physiologic antagonists. So while insulin lowers the plasma glucose level, glucagon, on the other hand, increases the plasma glucose level. Okay, we now go to the adrenal glands. So when you do a sagittal section of each adrenal gland, you will find that it is divided into two parts, the outer cortex and the inner medulla. So let us talk about the adrenal cortex. It is further subdivided into three layers. The outermost layer is the zona glomerulosa that secretes mineralocorticoids. The most predominant of the mineralocorticoids is aldosterone. And the target cells of aldosterone are the epithelial cells of the DCT and collecting ducts of the nephron. The middle layer is the zona fasciculata, which secretes more glucocorticoids than androgens. And the innermost layer is the zona reticularis that secretes more androgens than glucocorticoids. Okay? So pag-usapan muna natin yung glucocorticoids. The most predominant is cortisol. And cortisol is also a general hormone. So marami siyang target cell. At ano-ano yan? Bone cells, muscle cells, adipose cells, liver cells, and the cells of the immune system. Bone, muscle, adipose, liver, as well as the cells of the immune system. Now, androgens. Examples include androstenedione, dihydrotestosterone, even testosterone. Now, when we say androgenic hormones, these are hormones with masculinizing effects. And they are responsible for the development of secondary male sexual characteristics. In addition, androgens are anabolic hormones. So they increase protein deposition into the muscle. Okay? Next is the adrenal medulla that secretes 80% epinephrine and 20% norepinephrine. These two catecholamines are also general hormones. Again, they can act on almost all cells in the body. In females, we have the ovaries that secrete estrogen and progesterone that will act and regulate the female reproductive system. And finally, in males, we have the testes that secretes testosterone that will act and regulate the male reproductive function. Okay? So again, ito yung mga purely endocrine glands. Nabanggit natin yung mga hormones at saka target cell, target gland, target organ ng bawat hormone. Up to this point, any questions? Okay, so we continue. We now go to the second group and we call them partly endocrine organs. Partly endocrine because aside from secreting hormones, they can subserve other functions. Okay? First is the gastrointestinal tract, wherein the mucosal glands present in the GI wall secrete the following hormones: gastrin, cholecystokinin, and secretin. But aside from secreting hormones, alam naman natin maraming activities ang GIT. Motility, digestion, absorption. Okay? Next are the kidneys that secrete erythropoietin. Target organ of erythropoietin is the bone marrow and it will stimulate RBC production. It is also in the kidneys where the most biologically active form of vitamin D is produced. And the target organs of vitamin D are intestine, bone, at saka kidneys din. But aside from this endocrine function, maraming function ang kidneys. Urine formation, acid-base balance, regulation of plasma volume, and concentration. Okay? The placenta secretes the hormones of pregnancy, and that will include the human chorionic gonadotropin. But in addition, the placenta can also provide a means of exchange of gases, nutrients, as well as waste products of metabolism between maternal circulation and fetal circulation. Okay? In the heart, the atrial muscle cells secrete the atrial natriuretic peptide that acts on the DCT and collecting ducts of the nephron to cause natriuresis. But aside from this, ano pa bang pwedeng function ng right and left atria? They receive blood from the systemic circulation as well as pulmonary circulation. So the atria can also function as a blood reservoir. In the skin, the melanocytes produce melanin, which is a hyperpigmenting agent. The skin can also produce an inactive form of vitamin D. But aside from this, ano pang pwedeng function ng skin? First line of defense against infection. barrier sa pagpasok ng microorganisms. Next is the liver. Alam natin na maraming metabolic functions ang liver. But among the hormones secreted by the liver are IGF, that is insulin-like growth factor, or somatomedin. Now, you will learn later on in your lecture about the pituitary gland that IGF-1 or somatomedin C mediates most of the actions of growth hormone that are related to growth. The liver also produces a less active form of vitamin D. Yung pinakang-active na vitamin D na po-produce sa kidneys. The pineal gland produces melatonin, which helps regulate sleep patterns. And finally, we have the hypothalamus. Now, before we go to the endocrine function of the hypothalamus, pwede ba niyo ako bigyan ng non-endocrine function ng hypothalamus? Where is Miss Ramos, Irving? Miss Ramos, Irving?
No po, Doc.
Okay, anong alam mong non-endocrine function ng hypothalamus?
Their center po ay.
Ano yon? Ulit, Iha?
Di ko po sure, Doc, pero for safety center po.
Ano? Loud, ipakilakas.
Di ko lang po sure, Doc, pero third center po.
Third center. Okay, yes. Ano pang mga center ang andun? Sure, Hans, Bernardo.
Temperature regulation po ba?
Temperature regulation. Balik sa Stephen.
Satiety center.
Satiety center. Swallowing or deglutition center. Ano pa? Remember that the hypothalamus is also the head ganglion of the autonomic nervous system. It is the highest center that regulates visceral functions. Okay? Now we go to the endocrine function of the hypothalamus. So makikita nyo sa taas, ayan yung hypothalamus, sa baba niya ang buong pituitary gland or hypophysis. Now, how is the hypothalamus connected to the pituitary gland at ano ang relasyon niya? Now, we mentioned earlier that it is the anterior pituitary gland that we consider as the master gland. However, the activities of both anterior and posterior pituitary glands are regulated by a higher center, and that is the hypothalamus. Ngayon, anong connection? Number one, there is a physical connection between the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, and we call that the pituitary or hypophyseal stalk. Okay? Number two is a vascular connection. Makikita naman nyo sa picture. There is a network of blood vessels that connect the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. And we call this the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system or hypothalamic hypophyseal portal vessels, so that hormones that are synthesized in the hypothalamus are released into the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal vessels to be transported to the pituitary gland. Okay? Now, physiologically, the pituitary gland is divided into two parts. 80% of the gland is the anterior pituitary gland or adenohypophysis that secretes tropic or stimulating hormones that will act on peripheral target cells or target glands. 20% of the gland is the posterior pituitary gland that stores and releases neuroendocrine hormones. Okay? So that there is a third connection between the hypothalamus and posterior pit, and that is neural, meaning to say there are nerve fibers that connect the hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary gland so that impulses generated in the hypothalamus can be transmitted to the posterior pit, stimulating the posterior pit to release ADH and oxytocin. So ang hypothalamic regulation ng posterior pituitary activity is neural by means of nerve impulses. Ngayon, paano naman ang hypothalamic regulation ng anterior pituitary activities? This time, it is neuroendocrine. So the hypothalamus secretes hypophysiotropic hormones. Hypophysiotropic hormones, i-release niya sa hypothalamic hypophyseal portal vessels, and these hormones will either stimulate or inhibit the anterior pituitary gland. So a regulation ng anterior pit activity by the hypothalamus is neuroendocrine. Okay? So now, what are these hypophysiotropic hormones from the hypothalamus that will either stimulate or inhibit the anterior pit? Now, these are actually releasing as well as inhibitory hormones. At madaling tandaan ang function. Kasi kung anong pangalan niya, andun na yung function niya. So number 1, growth hormone releasing hormone. Another name is somatotropin releasing factor. So this stimulates release of growth hormone. Okay? Now the opposite is growth hormone inhibitory hormone. Another name is somatostatin. So this will inhibit release of growth hormone. Next is prolactin inhibitory hormone or dopamine, which inhibits release of prolactin. Ang kabaligtaran niya, prolactin releasing hormone, which stimulates release of prolactin. We also have a thyrotropin releasing hormone, which stimulates release of thyrotropin or TSH as well as prolactin. A corticotropin releasing hormone stimulates release of corticotropin or ACTH plus another hormone whose structure bears some similarities with ACTH, and that is MSH or melanocyte stimulating hormone. But take note, in human beings, mas marami tayong ACTH kesa MSH. So that's isang pasyente na may Cushing's disease. Yung hyperpigmentation is due mainly to an increase in ACTH rather than an increase in MSH. Okay? And finally, we have the gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates release of the two types of gonadotropins, FSH and LH. So tandaan nyo, ang nanggagaling sa hypothalamus, ang tawag doon, hypophysiotropic hormones. So these are either releasing or inhibitory hormones. At saan ang aksyon niya? Sa anterior pit. Pag naman galing sa anterior pit, ito yung stimulating or tropic hormones. Saan ang aksyon niya? Peripheral target cell or target gland. At dalawa lamang yung anterior pituitary hormone na merong inhibitory hormone from the hypothalamus. And these are growth hormone and prolactin. Okay? Okay, so we continue. Let us now talk about the chemical mediator that is involved in the endocrine system. So hormones. So what are the properties or general characteristics of hormones? So hormones are chemical substances secreted by a specific group of secretory cells or what we call endocrine glands. Compared to exocrine glands, endocrine glands are ductless so that the hormones are thrown directly into the body fluids. So either into the circulating blood or interstitial fluid. Now, remember also that the endocrine or hormonal system will not create nor add a new function in the body. Its main function is only to regulate existing body functions or processes. Regulation, not to create a new function in the body. Now, once a hormone reaches a target cell, ang pinaka-target niya sa target cell is specific intracellular enzymes. And these hormones will either increase or decrease the synthesis and activity of specific intracellular enzymes, therefore increasing or decreasing the rate of existing intracellular biochemical processes, therefore changing the whole metabolic setup of the cell. Okay? Other properties, onset and duration of action. So nabanggit natin, may mga hormones na mahaba ang latent period, meron namang immediate effect, maigsi ang latent period. But once a hormone acts on a target cell, mahaba ang kanyang duration of action. In the plasma, hormones are present in low concentrations. In fact, you need only a small amount of a hormone and that will already have an effect on the target cell. So in relation to this, ano bang ibig sabihin ng plasma half-life of a chemical substance? In this case, plasma half-life of a hormone. Anong ibig sabihin? Anybody? Halimbawa, sabihin natin T4, thyroxine, ang kanyang plasma half-life 7 days. Ang T3, mga 1 to 3 days lang. So anong ibig sabihin ng plasma half-life? Yung iba nga 6 to 30 minutes lang.
Doc, from the word itself, half-life po, bali yung po yung time for the plasma level of a chemical substance in the blood po to decrease by half or 50% from the original.
Okay. Yes, very good. It is the time it takes for the plasma concentration dito of a hormone to decrease by 50% of its initial concentration. So halimbawa ulit, thyroxine, 100 milligrams per cent today. So that means next Friday, 50 milligrams per cent na lang siya. Ano nangyari? Either tinake up ng target cell or na-excrete sa urine. How is plasma half-life related to plasma clearance of a hormone? Directly related ba or inversely related? Plasma half-life, plasma clearance. Or even renal clearance. Direct or inverse?
Trico po. Direct po ba?
Ano?
Direct po.
Direct. So, ibig sabihin, the longer the plasma half-life, the faster the plasma clearance. Ganon? So, kung mahaba ang plasma half-life, nakiklear agad siya sa plasma.
Indirect po.
Inverse or indirect. Kung mas mahaba ang plasma half-life, hindi siya agad nakiklear sa plasma, andun lang siya. Kung mas maigsi ang plasma half-life, sabi ko nga, ano nangyari? So either tinake up siya ng target cell or na-excrete na agad siya. Okay? Now, in the plasma or in the blood, hormones are present in two forms. Protein-bound hormone, which is biologically inactive, and a free hormone which is biologically active. In other words, it is the free hormone that can act on the target cells. Okay. So bakit pagka protein-bound ang hormone walang action sa target cell? Ngayon, before a hormone can act on a target cell, it has to bind with a receptor in the target cell. At ano ito receptor? It is also a protein. So if the hormone is already protein-bound, paano pa siya makakabind doon sa receptor? So wala siyang action sa target cell. But kung kinakailangan, a protein-bound hormone can be unbound. So pag na-unbound siya from the plasma protein, it can now bind with the receptor and act on a target cell. Okay? So ano nga yung functions ng protein-bound hormone? Inactive siya. Number one, it can function as a hormone reservoir. Reserva. So if the free hormone has already been utilized by the target cell, yung protein-bound pwedeng ma-unbound, magagamit na siya ng target cell. Number two, there are hormones that are not soluble in blood, like for example, steroid hormones. So how can they be transported? By protein binding. So protein binding can facilitate the transport of a hormone in the blood. And number three, protein binding prolongs the plasma half-life of a hormone. Kasi pag protein bound ang isang hormone, hindi siya agad na may metabolize, hindi siya na-excrete sa urine kaagad. Okay? Now, the plasma proteins that bind these hormones are globulins, and they are produced by the liver. In some cases, like for example, during pregnancy, an increase in estrogen will stimulate the liver, and that will increase the production of these binding proteins. But under normal conditions, an equilibrium exists in the plasma between protein-bound and free hormone. For example, kung napakaraming free hormone, yung kasobrahan nga will bind with a protein, and that will render the hormone inactive, pero nakareserba yung protein-bound. Okay? Tapos sabi ko kanina, pag naman nagamit na yung free hormone, yung protein-bound pwedeng ma-unbound. So may action na ngayon siya sa target cell. So balanse. Mamimit yung needs ng target cell. Kung may sobra, increase ang protein binding. Kung kulang, maa-unbound. So regulated palagi yung function ng target cell. Okay? Now, while there are some hormones that can be inactivated in the target cell, halimbawa thyroid hormones, pwede siyang ma-inactivate sa muscle, pwedeng sa kidney, pwedeng sa thyroid gland mismo. The main site of hormone inactivation is still the liver. And the products of hormone inactivation are cleared from the plasma, mainly through the kidneys. Okay? So any questions about the characteristics and properties of hormones? Okay.
The question
Continue. Yes?
Doon po sa part ng Cushing syndrome, yung hormones, ano, hindi ko po ma-recall, Doc, yung cause ng hyperpigmentation.
Increase ACTH.
Increase ACTH.
Hypersecretion of ACTH rather than MSH. Kasi nga sa human being, mas marami kang ACTH kesa MSH. Ang ACTH merong hyperpigmentic effect din yan. Okay?
Alright po. Get po.
Okay.
Thank you
May
po.
tanong pa? Okay. So let us now go to classification of hormones. Now, since hormones are chemical substances, one way to classify them is according to their chemical composition. So under this, there are three classes of hormones. Number one are peptides or proteins. Number two, biogenic amines. Number three is steroid hormones. Okay? So pag-usapan natin yung una, peptides, proteins. So these are hormones that are made up of amino acid residues ranging from 3 to 200. Okay? Ngayon, ang sabi sa biochem, pag ang amino acid residues is below 50, peptide. 50 and above, polypeptide or protein na yan. Pero according to Guyton, ang cutoff natin 100. So below 100, peptide, 100 and above, polypeptide or protein. So sa Fisio, ang sundin natin muna si Guyton. So 100. Okay? So these are your peptide or protein hormones. Alin-alin ngayon yan. So we have the releasing and inhibitory hormones from the hypothalamus except the prolactin inhibitory hormone or dopamine. Then we have the tropic hormones from the anterior pituitary gland. But take note, There are 3 anterior pituitary hormones that are not purely proteins. Instead, they are glycoproteins. And these are TSH, FSH, LH. Then we have ADH and oxytocin from the posterior pit, PTH, calcitonin, insulin, glucagon. So pag di-discuss natin ang individual hormones na yan, malalaman nyo kung peptide yan or protein. Depende sa dami ng amino acid residues. Okay? Now, these peptide or protein hormones are synthesized in the rough endoplasmic reticulum of the secretory cell from a large precursor, which we call a pre-pro hormone. And a pre-pro hormone is biologically inactive. Okay? Now, this pre-pro hormone will be cleaved to form a smaller molecule, which we now call pro-hormone, still biologically inactive. This pro-hormone will be cleaved further to form a smaller molecule, which is now the active hormone. So, pre-pro hormone, pro-hormone, active. Example, pre-pro-insulin, pro-insulin, insulin. Okay? Now, in some cases, hindi lahat ng pro-hormone nagiging active hormone. So, ang mangyayari, yung active hormone at yung natirang pro-hormone are packaged together in secretory vesicles where they are stored temporarily. Upon stimulation, both are released by exocytosis into the circulating blood. Sa circulating blood, ibig sabihin, pwede kang may active hormone, merong pro-hormone. Halimbawa, sa circulating blood, upon stimulation, pwedeng may insulin, merong pro-insulin. But again, although a pro-hormone can circulate in the blood, it has none of the biologic activities of the active hormone. Okay? And since these are already proteins, so they are soluble in blood. So they are transported mainly in the unbound form, and that will make their plasma half-life shorter. Okay? Next, biogenic amines, and these are hormones that are synthesized from the amino acid tyrosine. So from the follicular cells of the thyroid gland, we have T3 and T4. Now, after synthesis by the follicular cells of the thyroid, T3 and T4 are stored temporarily in the lumen of the thyroid follicle, bound to thyroglobulin. Upon stimulation, both T3 and T4 are released by exocytosis into the circulating blood. And in the circulating blood, 99% of these thyroid hormones is protein-bound, only 1% is free. At pag-uusapan natin yan in detail next meeting. For the catecholamines and the prolactin inhibitory factor or hormone or dopamine, they circulate in the blood mostly in the unbound form. However, a small amount circulates loosely bound to albumin. Okay? Now, hormones that are synthesized from cholesterol are classified as steroid hormones, and this will include sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Then we have the adrenocortical hormones and the different forms of vitamin D. Now, steroid hormones are synthesized in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum of the secretory cell, and only a few amount can be stored. Upon release into the circulating blood, they are transported bound to specific binding globulins. Hindi sila soluble. Kaya para matransport sila, talagang protein bound yan. Kaya may cortisol binding globulin, estrogen binding globulin, etc. And that makes their plasma half-life longer. Okay? So itong classification na to is based on the chemical composition of the hormones. Another way to classify hormones is according to their site of action. So if a hormone will act on a target cell located near the secretory cell, ang tawag sa kanila, local hormone. At ito na nga yung diniscuss natin sa simula na paracrine control system that exists in the pancreatic islets of Langerhans. Other examples of local hormones are some gastrointestinal hormones. Halimbawa, gastrin. Ano bang nagsisecrete ng gastrin? G cells present in the antral portion of the stomach. Anong example ng target cell ng gastrin? Parietal cell na nasa stomach din. So magkatabi lang sila, nasa isang tissue. At anong gagawin ng parietal cell upon stimulation by gastrin? Magsisecrete ng hydrochloric acid. So gastrin is a local hormone. Ang kabaliktaran nito, yung general hormones. This time, these hormones act on target cells located far from the secretory cell. Kaya nare-release sila sa circulating blood and most of them can act on several target cells at the same time. Ito na nga yung thyroid hormones, growth hormone, catecholamine, cortisol. Bakit kasama yung trophic hormones from the anterior pit? Kahit bawat hormone ng anterior pit iisa ang target gland, malayo pa rin yung target gland sa anterior pituitary gland. Okay? So yan yung classification of hormones. Any questions up to this point? Okay, so we continue. So we now go to mechanism of action of hormones. Now, before a hormone can act on a target cell, it has to bind with a receptor in the target cell. So you need a hormone receptor complex or hormone receptor interaction. Okay? And what are these receptors? They're also chemical subunits. Sabi ko nga kanina, most of them are proteins, some are glycoproteins na merong binding site para sa hormone. Okay? Now, one property of these receptors is stereospecificity. Meaning to say, the binding site of a receptor will fit the configuration of only one type of a hormone. So this hormone receptor interaction is specific. Halimbawa, in the endometrium of the uterus, yung receptor for estrogen, hindi yan nagbabind ng progesterone. May ibang receptor for progesterone. Okay? In the bone, yung receptor for PTH, hindi yan nagbabind sa calcitonin. So may ibang receptor for calcitonin in the bone. In the liver, yung receptor for insulin, hindi yan magbabind with glucagon. So meron kanyang receptor ang glucagon, although pareho sila ng target cell. Okay? So specific yan. Another property is saturability. Now, the binding site or the number of receptors in a target cell is not infinite. Fix yung amount niyan. So that kung napakaraming hormone at na-occupy na yung mga binding site sa receptor ng target cell, ano ang nangyayari sa kasobrahan? Nagbabind na siya sa plasma protein, parang hormone reservoir. But remember also, the hormone receptor occupancy that is needed to have an effect on the target cell is quite low. Ibig sabihin, hindi kailangan na mapuno ng hormone lahat ng binding site sa receptor. Sabi ko nga kanina, konting hormone lang na mag-bind sa receptor, meron ng effect sa target cell. So merong spare na receptor, may reserba. Kaya nga, kung masira or mag-decrease yung number ng receptor sa target cell, yung manifestations of impairment are not immediately observed. Kasi masira man yung iba, may reserba. Okay? Now, since these receptors are proteins, that means they can be degraded, they can be resynthesized. So that their number in the target cell is not constant. Pwede sila mag-increase, pwede mag-decrease, pwede mawala yan totally. And kung mag-decrease yung receptor or mawala ang receptor sa target cell, kahit anong dami ng hormone, walang effect sa target cell. Okay? Halimbawa, are you familiar with type 1 diabetes mellitus and type 2 diabetes mellitus? Narinig na ba nyo yun? Familiar ba kayo doon? Okay. In type 1 DM, there is destruction of the pancreatic beta cells. So wala ka talagang insulin. Kaya tumataas ang blood glucose level. But in type 2, initially, the pancreatic beta cells are intact. Insulin secretion is normal. Sometimes it is even increased. Eh bakit tumataas pa rin yung blood glucose level? Kasi insulin cannot act on the target cell kasi may problema sa mga receptor sa target cell. Either nag-decrease o kaya nawala o mali ang configuration. Kaya tumataas pa rin ang blood glucose kahit maraming insulin. Pag ang cause ay problema sa receptor, hindi hormone deficiency, ang tawag natin doon, hormone resistance. Okay? Another example. If there is growth hormone deficiency, magkakaroon ng pituitary dwarf. Pero there is another type of dwarfism which we call Laron dwarfism, wherein growth hormone secretion is normal, sometimes it is even increased. Ang problema, receptors for growth hormone in the liver, so hindi ma-stimulate ang formation ng IGF-1. And remember, it is IGF-1 that mediates most of the actions of growth hormone that are related to growth. So kung walang IGF-1, ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon pa rin ng physical retardation. Ang tawag natin doon, Laron dwarfism. Hormone resistance din yun. Okay? Now, in relation to regulation of the number of receptors in a target cell, may dalawa tayong mechanism. Up-regulation and down-regulation. Ano ngayon yan? Up-regulation. If a target cell has been exposed to a low concentration of a hormone for some time, this will stimulate the production of receptors for this hormone in the target cell, therefore increasing the sensitivity of the target cell to that hormone. Ang involved dito, isang hormone lang. So that is self-explanatory. Okay? Another case of upregulation will involve two hormones, A and B. So this time, if a target cell has been exposed to a high concentration of hormone A for some time, this will now stimulate the production of receptors for hormone B in the target cell, therefore increasing the sensitivity of the target cell to hormone B. Halimbawa, alam natin ang isang action ng oxytocin towards the end of the gestational period is to stimulate uterine or myometrial contraction. But oxytocin by itself cannot stimulate uterine or myometrial contraction unless the uterus has been exposed to a high concentration of estrogen, especially towards the end of the gestational period. Why? Because it is estrogen that will stimulate the production of receptors for oxytocin in the myometrium, and only then can oxytocin stimulate myometrial or uterine contraction. Therefore, estrogen upregulates the number of receptors for oxytocin in the myometrium of the uterus. Okay? Now, the opposite of this, downregulation. So this time, the target cell has been exposed to a high concentration of a hormone for some time. Ano nangyayari sa receptor? Nasa-saturate, yung iba nasisira. So magdi-decrease yung number na receptor sa target cell, and that will decrease the sensitivity of the target cell to the same hormone. Or, if a target cell has been exposed to a high concentration of hormone A for some time, this may downregulate the number of receptors for hormone B in the target cell, again, decreasing the sensitivity of the target cell to hormone B. Halimbawa, in the endometrium of the uterus during the second half of the female monthly cycle, may increased estrogen, mataas na increase sa progesterone. Ano ginagawa ng progesterone? Dina-downregulate niya. yung receptors for estrogen in the myometrium so that yung effects ng estrogen sa endometrium, nagdi-decrease. Kasi ang effect niya is to increase the thickness of the endometrium. So pag na-downregulate na yung receptor for estrogen, titigil na yung pagkapal ng endometrium. Okay? Next. Receptors, nasan ba yan sa target cell? Iba-iba ang location. So for proteins, peptides, catecholamines, the receptors are located in the cell membrane. For steroid hormones, the receptors are located intracellularly, mainly in the cytoplasm, some in the nucleus. And for thyroid hormones, the receptors are in the nucleus of the target cell. So iba-iba ang location, isa-isahin natin ngayon. So let us talk about membrane receptors. There are 3 types. Number 1, yung tinatawag natin ligand-gated ion channels or ionophores na hindi ginagamit masyado sa endo, mas ginagamit yan sa neuro. So anong mangyayari? You have a hormone or neurotransmitter agent binding with a receptor that will open up specific ligand-gated ion channels that will cause depolarization, excitation of the target cell. An example of this is when acetylcholine binds with nicotinic receptors. Kaya nga pang neuro yan. Ang mas ginagamit sa endong type ng membrane receptor, you have your G-protein coupled receptors or metabophores. And this will involve formation of an intracellular ligand or second messenger. It is the second messenger that will mediate the actions of the hormone on the target cell. Okay? So ano ba yung dalawang klase ng G-protein coupled receptor second messenger systems? So first, we have the adenylyl cyclase cyclic AMP system. So a hormone binds with a receptor and that will cause activation of G-proteins. Remember, G-proteins are located on the inner surface of the membrane, the one that faces the ICF. Okay? Once activated, these G-proteins will stimulate an intracellular enzyme that is adenylyl cyclase. Anong sabi ko kanina? Ang effect ng hormone sa target cell to stimulate an intracellular enzyme. In this case, it is adenylyl cyclase. Stimulation of adenylyl cyclase will increase the formation of cyclic AMP. And cyclic AMP here is the second messenger. Cyclic AMP stimulates another intracellular enzyme that is now protein kinase A. And protein kinase A will cause phosphorylation of specific intracellular proteins, stimulation of specific intracellular biochemical reactions, again, changing the metabolic setup of the cell. Okay? Now, these are the hormones whose actions are mediated by cyclic AMP. Siguro sa iba't ibang libro, may iba't ibang classification. Ito kasi kay Guyton, ito muna ang sundin natin. Okay? So number 1, from the hypothalamus are corticotropin-releasing hormone, growth hormone, inhibitory hormone, or somatostatin. From the anterior pit, corticotropin, thyrotropin, and the 2 types of gonadotropins, HCG, PTH, calcitonin. ADH, when it binds with V2 receptors, nasan yan? Nasa membrane ng epithelial cells of the DCT and collecting ducts of the nephron. Catecholamines when they bind with beta receptors. Angiotensin 2 when it binds with membrane receptors on the epithelial cells of the DCT and collecting ducts of the nephron. And glucagon. So makikita nyo, peptides, proteins, catecholamines. So the actions of these hormones are mediated by cyclic AMP. Another type of a G-protein coupled receptor second messenger system will now involve activation of phospholipase C. So siya ngayon yung enzyme that will cause the breakdown of phosphoinositol biphosphate into inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. IP3 increases intracellular calcium. Saan? Sa visceral and vascular smooth muscle cells, where calcium binds with calmodulin and that will initiate visceral or vascular smooth muscle contraction. On the other hand, diacylglycerol stimulates protein kinase C that will again cause phosphorylation of specific intracellular proteins, stimulation of specific intracellular biochemical processes. Okay? And these are now the hormones whose actions are mediated by the phospholipase C second messenger system. So from the hypothalamus, gonadotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing hormone. Oxytocin from the posterior pituitary gland. ADH this time when it binds with V1 receptors on the membrane of the vascular smooth muscle cells. Catecholamines when they bind with alpha receptors. And angiotensin 2 when it binds with membrane receptors on the vascular smooth muscle cells. So we have discussed two types of membrane receptors, ionophores, metabophore. There is a third type which we call enzyme-linked receptor. Why enzyme-linked? Because once a hormone binds with this type of receptor, nagkakaroon ng autophosphorylation ng intracellular enzyme. And these enzymes are kinases. Okay? And this is true for growth hormone, prolactin, insulin. For growth hormone and prolactin, the enzyme involved is Janus kinase 2. For insulin, it is tyrosine kinase. Okay? Now, what about the mechanism of action of steroid hormones? So steroid hormones are synthesized from cholesterol, therefore they are lipid soluble. And since the membrane of the effector or target cells is made up of a lipid bilayer, these steroid hormones can readily cross the cell membrane and bind mainly with cytoplasmic receptors. Then, the steroid hormone receptor complex will enter the nucleus and stimulate DNA synthesis. So steroid hormones are gene stimulators. Now this will lead to the formation of messenger RNAs that will now direct the synthesis and activity of specific intracellular enzyme. So enzyme pa rin ang action ng hormone. Okay? And finally, for thyroid hormones, they are actively transported across the membrane and bind with nuclear receptors, again, stimulating DNA synthesis. So just like steroid hormones, thyroid hormones are gene stimulators. So this will lead to the formation of messenger RNAs that will direct the synthesis and activity of many intracellular enzymes, including yung walang kamatayang sodium, potassium, ATPase. Kaya makikita nyo next meeting, pag discuss natin ng thyroid gland. Lahat ng actions ng thyroid hormones will increase cellular activity or metabolism. Kasi isang enzyme na na-stimulate nila, sodium, potassium, ATPase. Okay? Ngayon, sa SGD nyo o kaya doon sa written output, pag ang tanong is to discuss the mechanism of action, hindi nyo i-discuss na thyroid hormones increase the heart rate, GI motility, etc. No, hindi yung biologic action. Pag mechanism of action, that is hormone receptor interaction. Ito yan. Clear? Okay, next. Any questions, by the way? Maliwanag? Okay, we continue. So we now go to mechanisms that regulate endocrine function. Number one is indirect nervous control via the hypothalamic, hypophyseal, target gland axis. Hypophyseal is referring to the anterior pit. Okay? This is hypothalamic, hypophyseal, target gland axis according to Guyton, but to Bird and Levy, it is called endocrine axis. Pareho lang sila. So ano mangyayari? Simple lang. The hypothalamus secretes a releasing factor or hormone which stimulates the anterior pit to secrete a trophic hormone which will stimulate a peripheral target gland to secrete a hormone. Kaya nga hypothalamic, hypophyseal, target gland axis. And this is the mechanism that regulates the endocrine function of the following glands: anterior pit, thyroid, adrenal cortex, hindi ang adrenal medulla, ovaries, testis. Okay? Let me give you an example. So the hypothalamus secretes the thyrotropin-releasing hormone, which stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete thyrotropin or TSH, which in turn stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete T3 and T4. So this is now the hypothalamic, hypophyseal, thyroid gland axis. Anong ibig sabihin? Kung meron kang TRH, merong TSH, merong T3 and T4. Kung walang TRH, walang TSH, wala rin ang T3 and T4. Okay? So TRH and TSH regulate the secretion of T3 and T4. Ngayon, mamaya ito. Under this mechanism, we have what we call a negative feedback control. That is, if there is excess free hormone from a target gland, the hypothalamus and anterior pit are inhibited. So that will decrease the releasing hormone and trophic hormone. We also have a positive feedback control, or what we call feed forward. This time, excess free hormone from a target gland stimulates the hypothalamus and anterior pit. So lalong dadami lalo ang releasing hormone, pati ang trophic hormone. Okay? Kaya feed forward. Example. So ito yung kanina. Okay? So sabi ko kanina, TRH and TSH regulate the secretion of T3 and T4. However, T3 and T4 can also regulate the secretion of TRH and TSH by exerting a direct negative feedback effect. And that is, if there is excess T3 and T4, the anterior pit is inhibited, so decrease ang TSH. The hypothalamus is inhibited, so decrease ang TRH. So pag nag-decrease na ang TRH at TSH, ano mangyayari sa T3 at T4? Magdi-decrease siya back to normal. At pag nag-normalize yan o kaya nag-decrease, tanggal ang negative feedback. Okay? Now, sa mga endocrine glands whose activities are regulated by the HH target gland axis or endocrine axis, may tatlong hierarchy ang disorder: primary, secondary, tertiary. Okay. Pag primary ang disorder, ang problema sa target gland. Pag secondary, sa anterior pit. Pag tertiary, sa hypothalamus. Ang pinaka-common, primary. Doon mismo sa target gland. Okay, tingnan natin. At iba-iba ang hormonal picture niyan. Halimbawa, sa pasyenteng merong primary hypothyroidism, nasaan ang disorder? Primary hypo, saan ang disorder?
Thyroid.
Thyroid gland. So alin ang magdi-decrease? Kasi hypo, so magdi-decrease ang? Anong magdi-decrease pag may primary hypothyroidism?
The thyroid hormone.
Yes, T3 and T4. Pag decrease ang T3 and T4, what will happen to TSH?
Increase.
Ano yon?
Increase po, Doc.
Increase. What will happen to TRH?
Increase din po.
Increase. So in primary hypo, decrease T3 and T4, increase TSH, increase TRH. Hindi yan positive feedback, ha? Kasi para magkaroon ng positive feedback, ang stimulation mo dapat increase. Ito decrease. Nawala ang negative feedback lang. Kaya nag-increase ang TRH at TSH. Ngayon, if it is secondary hypothyroidism, nasaan ang disorder? Ang tagal, sumagot. Nasaan ang disorder pag secondary hypo?
T3 and T4.
Nasaan ang disorder pag secondary hypothyroidism?
Anterior pituitary.
Pituitary.
Anterior pit. So ano ang magdi-decrease muna?
TSH.
TSH. Pag decrease ang TSH, ano mangyayari sa T3 and T4?
Decrease.
Decrease. And what will happen to TRH?
Increase.
Decrease. Now, if it is tertiary hypo, lahat sila decrease. TRH, TSH, T3, T4. Kaya magkakaiba ang hormonal picture. Balik na rin natin. Primary hyperthyroidism. Saan ang disorder?
Thyroid gland.
Okay, so alin ang mag-i-increase?
T3.
T3, T4. What will happen to TSH? Ito na yan, no?
Decrease.
Decrease. What will happen to TRH?
Decrease.
Decrease. If it is secondary hyperthyroidism, alin ang unang mag-i-increase? Secondary hyper, alin ang unang mag-i-increase?
TSH.
TSH. What will happen to T3 and T4?
Nagdi-decrease po.
Ano?
Decrease po.
Bakit? I-increase ang TSH mo
Increase din po.
Increase. What will happen to TRH?
Decrease.
Ito yung decrease po.
Decrease. And if it is tertiary, lahat sila increase. Okay, now, if the negative feedback exerted by a hormone from a target gland will inhibit the anterior pit, that is what we call short loop of the axis. Long loop. If the negative feedback is exerted on the hypothalamus, it is still long loop. Kasi yung target gland, malayo sa anterior pit, malayo sa hypothalamus. Long loop pareho yan. Now, the hypothalamus secretes the growth hormone releasing hormone, which stimulates the anterior pit to secrete growth hormone. Excess free growth hormone will have a negative feedback on the hypothalamus, decreasing GHRH. This time, ito yung short loop. Kasi magkatabi lang sa brain, itong hypothalamus at saka anterior pit. Short loop. But remember, the hypothalamus secretes not only a releasing hormone, but also an inhibitory hormone that will now inhibit the anterior pit. So example is dopamine. And the other one is somatostatin. Okay? Ngayon, what about positive feedback? So estrogen is one hormone that has a negative as well as a positive feedback effect. So paano ngayon yan? GnRH from the hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pit to secrete FSH and LH. So the target gland in females are the ovaries, and one of the secretory products of the ovaries is estrogen. Now, in the female monthly cycle, if there is a moderate lang, increase in estrogen, the effect is negative feedback. So decrease GnRH, FSH, LH, decrease estrogen back to normal. But if there is an excessive increase in estrogen, also in the female monthly cycle, the effect is positive feedback. lalong dadami ang GnRH, FSH, LH, lalo pang dadami ang estrogen. So yung detalye niyan, i-discuss nyo pagdating sa female reproductive system. So moderate increase pag negative feedback, excessive increase, positive feedback. Okay? Okay, now, let us just mention in passing the other endocrine glands whose activities are regulated by the HH target gland axis. So this is now the hypothalamic, hypophyseal, testicular axis. So the hypothalamus secretes the gonadotropin-releasing hormone, which stimulates the anterior pit to secrete FSH and LH. Target gland is the testis in males. In the testis, target cells of FSH are the Sertoli cells that secrete inhibin. Inhibin is also a hormone. And if there is excess inhibin, merong negative feedback sa anterior pit, pero ang dinidecrease niya, FSH lang. Okay? On the other hand, target cells of LH are the interstitial cells of Leydig that secrete testosterone. And this time, excess testosterone has a negative feedback on the hypothalamus, so decrease GnRH, as well as on the anterior pit, pero ang magdi-decrease lang LH, hindi ang FSH. So FSH inhibited by excess inhibin, ang LH excess testosterone. Okay? Ngayon, ito yung sa babae, na-discuss na natin ang estrogen. Another hormone secreted by the ovaries is progesterone. And excess progesterone will have a negative feedback sa hypothalamus, decreasing GnRH, sa anterior pit, decreasing LH, hindi ang FSH. Okay? Itong thyroid, na-discuss na natin. Adrenal cortex. Okay. So the hypothalamus secretes the corticotropin-releasing hormone, which stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete ACTH or corticotropin, and target gland is the adrenal cortex, mainly the zona fasciculata and reticularis, hindi masyado ang glomerulosa. Ngayon, anong sinisikret nila? Cortisol, androgens. The negative feedback here is exerted mainly by an increase in estrogen, hindi masyado by an increase in androgens. Why? Because the androgenic hormones secreted by the adrenal cortex are weak. So para magkaroon ng negative feedback, it is due mainly to excess cortisol. Okay? So yan yung HH target gland axis or endocrine axis, which is indirect nervous control. Now, what are the other mechanisms? We have modified negative feedback. According to Guyton, to Byrne and Levy, it is physiologic response-driven feedback. Physiologic response-driven feedback. So why modified? Because this mechanism will not involve the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary gland. The negative feedback effect is not due to an excess of a free hormone in the blood, but instead, it is due to an excess of a blood metabolite, a chemical substance in the blood, which could be a nutrient like glucose or an electrolyte. But the plasma level of this blood metabolite is regulated by a hormone. And this is true for the secretion of the parathyroid glands. Ang blood metabolite is calcium. Islets of Langerhans, ang blood metabolite, glucose. Aldosterone secretion, it's mostly potassium, medyo lang ang sodium. And for the parafollicular cells, so secretion of calcitonin, it is still calcium. Okay? So let me give you an example. Hypocalcemia is the main stimulus that increases the secretion of PTH. PTH acts on the bone, intestine, and kidneys to cause hypercalcemia. And since there is hypercalcemia, this will inhibit further PTH secretion. Dapat hyper, hindi pwedeng normo. Pag normocalcemia, hindi mai-inhibit ang PTH. It is hyper. So you have a negative feedback here. Walang hypothalamus, walang anterior pit. The negative feedback is not due to an excess hormone, but due to excess calcium in the blood. But the blood levels of calcium is regulated by a hormone. So modified negative feedback. Okay? Another mechanism is called permissive action of a hormone. Let me put it this way. The presence of one hormone can increase or augment the activity of another hormone. So dalawa. For example, we all know that epinephrine is a potent vasoconstrictor. However, in the presence of cortisol, lalong lumalakas ang vasoconstricting effects ng epinephrine. So cortisol has a permissive action on epinephrine. Okay? And the last mechanism is direct nervous control. And there are two endocrine glands whose activities are directly regulated by the nervous system. One is the adrenal medulla. Kung naalala pa niyang autonomics. There are some sympathetic pre-ganglionic fibers that synapse directly with the membrane of the adrenal medullary cells. And remember that the adrenal medullary cells are histologically similar to a sympathetic ganglion. Okay? Now, sympathetic stimulation will cause the preganglionic fibers to release acetylcholine, which binds with nicotinic 2 receptors on the membrane of the adrenal medullary cells, stimulating them to release 80% epinephrine, 20% norepinephrine into the circulating blood, eventually binding with adrenergic receptors, reinforcing sympathetic adrenergic effects. So although the adrenal medulla is an endocrine gland, it is considered as part of the sympathetic adrenergic nervous system. Okay? The other one is the posterior pit. Nerve impulses from the hypothalamus can be transmitted by nerve fibers to the posterior pituitary gland, stimulating the posterior pit to release stored ADH and oxytocin, yung mga neuroendocrine hormones. So direct nervous control. Okay? Any questions? Clarifications? Section B, do you have any questions?
Wala po.
Wala po. So this is introduction to endocrinology. So mamayang 10 o'clock, magsisimula na tayo ng discussion ng individual endocrine glands. Okay? So if there are no questions, you can, this is the end of our first session. You can log out now para makapahinga kayo and then log